Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 12, which is entitled as Bhakti Yoga. Sloka 15. Yasmān nodvijate lokah, lokān nodvijate chayah, harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair, mukto yasmān priyaḥ. In the previous two slokas, we learnt about certain qualities that a practicing devotee must desire to have. In that, we saw adveshtaha, not showing hatred towards anyone. In other words, being good to everyone is one of the quality. But in case if he is not able to be loving or compassionate towards others, especially towards those who are doing wrong to him, if he does not indulge in actions that which doesn't threaten them, he is also dear to Krishna. And this is an important point. Sometimes when a person gets hurt, harmed by others, they want to pay back. They want to take revenge. They want to do something similar to the other person. And that is not a good quality. And at least by not doing so, a person can become dear to Krishna. That is what being discussed in this 15th sloka. Let's see the word by word meaning. Yasmāt, whom, lokah, any creature, na nodvijate, does not fear, who does nothing to cause fear in others, lokācha, of the world, yah, anyone who, na nodvijate, is not afraid, the world also does not frighten, harsha, from happiness, amarsha, distress, bhaya, fear, udvegair, and anxiety, yah, who, muktaha, freed, such person to me priyaḥ, is dear to me. Translation: he by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. Here in this verse, the line yasmān nodvijate lokah. In verse 13 that we saw in the previous sessions, the word adveshta indicated that one should not hate even one's enemies. And later in the 18th sloka that's coming up, we will see sama shatro cha mitre cha, meaning even if our enemies stay near us and cause harm to us, we should not cause harm even to them. Here in this sloka that we are right now in, that 15th sloka, the line yasmān nodvijate lokah instructs that one should not even use unpleasant words which cause aversion. So in 13th sloka, one should not harm even one's enemy. In the 18th sloka, even if that enemy harms us, we should not cause any harm to them. And in this 15th sloka, one should not even use unpleasant words, even if that person is an enemy, which causes any aversion. harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair mukto. The person who doesn't show joy, doesn't show anger, doesn't create fear in others, doesn't create any sort of aversion, yasmān priyaḥ, is dear to me as well. So, two things should be clear. One is, the world is not afraid of us, and we are not afraid of the world. When we speak world, it's the people who are living in the world, not the world by itself as an object. He does not do any action that will create some sort of fear in others. Why? Because he doesn't have any enemies in first place for him to create any fearful situation to others. Likewise, the world, the people living in the world doesn't do anything to him because his action made them fearless. Unless and until we create a situation to others which creates an insecurity, a fear in others, they will not do the same to us. And the same thing applies to everything: anger, joy, anxiety. It's all the same. This person does not have any anger towards others, and others doesn't have anger towards him. In first place, there is nothing that he needs to show anger to others, because the anger comes because of unfulfilled desires that we already saw in the second chapter. But this person have no desire in first place. There is no expectation for him from others. Therefore, there is no reason for him to get angry to anyone. And even he doesn't get angry towards those people who are his enemies, and especially if they are trying to harm him. For them also he doesn't show anger, because he knows very well that they are not acting independently. They are fully dependent on the Supreme Lord Krishna. And this person doesn't become in anxiety mode. Anxieties are also created due to expectations. This person doesn't have any expectation. Therefore, he is not affected by that. And is not affected by joy either, over excitement, as he is fully satisfied with his self. That joy for him is not external, it's internal for him. Therefore, nothing can create a joy from the external force. So the point to be noted here is, if one wants to be recognized by the world, to have a name, fame, prestige, to be called as a great person, to consider to be a great devotee, etc., whatever form it may be, then few things will happen. Either we must be fearful of the world and act in such a way that they please us, or they will become fearful of us because of our behavior. Let me repeat this. If we want to be recognized by the world, then we have to be in a fearful state, so our act or in such a way that pleases others. And we know very well we can't please everyone. And if people are not pleased by our action, they may become fearful of our action if we do something differently, or they may hate us. But if we are not interested in any recognition, then the world will not bother us and we will not have to bother the world. They may not even know our existence. In many ways, it is much better to continue doing our own sadhana practices in whatever the form that we are practicing towards Atma and Paramatma. So when a person is free of name, fame and prestige, the outcome is he doesn't need to be threatened by anyone. He doesn't have to threaten anyone. He doesn't need to be fearful of anyone. No one has to be fearful of him. He doesn't need to hate anyone, and no one is going to hate him. He doesn't need to derive joy through someone, and others doesn't need to be excited about him. Srila Prabhupada in his purports brings up these points very nicely. He says, actually, because a devotee is always engrossed in Krishna consciousness and engaged in devotional service, such material circumstances that we saw, joy, fear, getting threatened, hatred, any of the circumstances cannot move him, shake him from what he is doing. Generally, a materialistic person becomes very happy when there is something for his sense gratification and his body. But when he sees that others have something for their sense gratification and he hasn't, he is sorry and becomes envious of that person. When he is expecting some retaliation from an enemy, he is in a state of fear. And when he cannot successfully execute something, he becomes dejected. But a devotee who is always transcendental to all these disturbances, and such devotees who are not disturbed by these material circumstances, is very dear to Krishna. In the next verse, Krishna declares that the devotee who is only longing for Atma Paramatma is ever engaged in actions prescribed by the Shastra and is indifferent towards other activities. Such person, devotee, is dear to me. That will be the discussion for the 16th sloka. Yasmān nodvijate lokah, lokān nodvijate chayah, harṣāmarṣa-bhayodvegair, mukto yasmān priyaḥ. Namaste. Hare Krishna.